This is Trigger Point, episode 12. My name is Serena, and sitting across from me is my co-host Peter. Hello, Peter.
Hello, everyone.
So apparently we can't have good things because last time we recorded, we said, oh yeah, you know what? We're going to have 2 episodes this month, so, you know, you guys get a treat. And then we don't record
For a
month. Apparently, we should only stick to 1 episode a month. And if we ever record more, we should just leave it for the next month in case anything happens.
Yeah, we also aren't very good with keeping our promises.
Well, was it really a promise? It's not like I swear I would do this. I'm saying our next topic is going to be a certain thing, and if it didn't happen because we didn't finish reading a certain book...
Yeah. So in short, we are not going to be talking about S. today, for the very simple fact that neither of us have actually finished reading it.
Because it's boring. It's so boring.
We will try, and I stress the word try,
Yes.
to finish the book, and we will do that for our next
No.
episode.
Some episode in the future. I'm not promising anything. I already have an idea for what our next episode
if
is.
we don't do it for next episode, I don't think we will ever do it because it's just not going to happen. So if we are going to try it, at least we will have to do it next episode. Okay? Because it's one of those things, you know, we'll be like, we'll get to it in due course, and in due course is, you know, the 12th of never. So, So, firstly, I would sincerely apologize to everyone who think we were going to talk about S. today.
I sincerely apologize to the people who actually managed to finish the book thinking we were going to do that episode today. Well, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we're very sorry for putting you through all that.
I'm sure some people like it. I mean,
well,
you know.
I obviously had rave reviews, right?
Yeah.
So, yes, in short, we're not doing that. So instead, we're going to talk about another topic.
Well, 2 different TV series
different
that we've
series.
mentioned in the past episode.
Yeah. But actually, before we get to that, any particular interesting thing happening this last month? Anything you've done? Anything you've watched? Anything interesting?
Okay. I just want to do a quick follow-up on that Kindle thing. I bought the Kindle Oasis. Did I mention it last time?
I can't remember.
I bought a Kindle Oasis thinking I was going to read books on the Kindle to get through the Goodreads challenge.
Oh yeah, how is that challenge going?
Fantastic. I'm going through a lot of books.
Oh, okay.
Not on my Kindle, though. I returned the Kindle.
Oh really?
Yeah, I'm like, no.
You didn't like it?
I liked it, but considering the price of that thing is way overpriced, by the way.
How much was it?
Like $400 something.
Oh wow.
Yeah. It was the best Kindle there. Like, it's true. I love that Kindle. Like, the size of it is fantastic. And considering you love the iPad mini, it's a fantastic size to hold. And I like the physical buttons to change the page as opposed to flicking the page. But I really don't do a lot of
Reading.
actual reading. Well, no, it's not just that. I like reading on my phone because I go somewhere.
Yeah.
My phone is always on me. And
Yeah,
then I'll read wherever I am. I'm like carrying my Kindle with me, right?
Yeah, you don't also carry your like bags with you a lot.
Yeah, that too. You know, Apple Pay, right? There's no need for a wallet. So yeah, I just didn't, considering the price of that thing and considering I wasn't using it, and it was really, really annoying that I can't listen to my audiobooks on that.
Oh, you can't?
None of the Kindles support audiobooks.
Oh.
Like, considering how Amazon has Audible, you'd reckon that all their Kindles would support Audible content.
Yeah.
None of them do. The only thing that does is that Fire tablet. And if I'm going to use a Fire tablet, I might as well use my iPad. It's the same idea.
Yeah.
It's still backlit screen. Like, there's no point.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I returned that. My Goodreads challenge, I'm now up to like 30 something books. I need to double check the number. Yeah, I've been going through a few audiobooks. Some terrible audiobooks, may I say? Like, what was that recent book? Like, really, you can't trust Goodreads reviews. Like,
Clearly.
like seriously. I've been reading a lot of sci-fi, so I thought, you know what, I'll go back to my original favorites, which was like urban paranormal books, you know, vampires, you know, werewolves, that kind of thing. So there was 2 books that was recommended to me. One was called Boundary Crossed, and one was called Magic Bites. And they both are like the kind of like, you know, female protagonists, they kick ass kind of thing. And Boundary Crossed was this girl, this woman who was an ex-military, and she, like, her twin sister dies, and she's one of the guardians for her baby niece. Her niece is a null, which means she nullifies any paranormal activity, like any magic. So she gets introduced to this world, and because she's trying to protect her niece, because everyone wants her niece because of her powers, she suddenly has to she has to enter this world. She has to sign up with like the local vampire lord so that they will protect, like the vampires will protect them, and she also finds that she has powers herself. So there's this thing, right? And it's not badly written. It's pretty good. I mean, is it like, would I rather read Jim Butcher's Harry Dresden File over this? No. Right? But it's still fairly good. But I thought, oh yeah, it's okay. I don't really care about babies. So when you have a protagonist whose first and foremost thing is always about protecting this baby, I'm just like... And also she has... because it's an audiobook, right? So the lady who's doing it, she'll say, like, because the main character would see the baby and she's like, oh baby, and then she will say it in that thing, like the cooing noise, and I'm like, okay. I don't like it when I hear it in real life. I don't like it when I hear it in a book, but I'll put up with it. It's not terribly written, and the world is interesting. Okay, that's fine. And then I read Magic Bites. I left that for a second because everyone was saying, oh, ignore the front cover. The front cover is one of those really badly done ones. Like, it looks like it was done at home with a Photoshop thing. But there's like, 13, 14 books in this series, and people are saying, you know, ignore the bad cover.
It's a good book.
It's a good book. This is a fantastic series. She kick ass. Like, she's really snarky. She's not new to this world, right? She's a veteran to this world. Like, the idea is that in this world, it's current, like, think 10 years in the future, and apparently technology fails. Magic comes back, and it comes in waves. When magic happens, all the electricity dies. And then every now and then, technology comes back, and magic dies.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So everything everyone has is a hybrid. Like at home, you will have electricity lights as well as you have fey lights, because when one thing fails, the other one kicks in. Yeah. So people with cars, you either had a hybrid car that could do both, or you have 2 cars. One that runs on diesel and one that is magic driven, or you ride a horse.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm like, hey, this seems kind of interesting. Let's watch this. Read this. Wow. The world is not fleshed out. You don't, like, when you read paranormal books, the reason why you read it is because you want to know how the magic works. You want to know how the world works. Sure, you get told that there's waves of magic and you get wave of tech. You don't get told why or how. You don't get told, so did this happen 10 years ago and everyone's now used to this? You don't get told that. The way the world is written, everything seems really dark. Like Dark Ages, like you need bodyguards because otherwise you get mugged on the street. But at the same time, she's driving around town, and there's a werewolf shapeshift in the back seat, and then they park at the red lights, and there's a family in the next car, and she's wondering whether the kid in the next car, if the kid sees the werewolf, whether the kid would scream because there's a monster in her back seat. And I'm like, but if this is the world, wouldn't people be used to the fact that there are werewolves sitting in your back seat? Why would this kid scream? Except, like, the kid apparently, because it was dark, the lighting wasn't that good.
Didn't see it.
No, saw the shape and thought it was a doggy. Right, and I'm like, wait, so there are people walking around that are, like, nuclear family just walking around without any care for the world and doesn't understand that there's magic? I don't understand how this world works where you have both, but then you have people who seem
to be very ignorant, but they couldn't be given the world that they're living in, right?
Yeah, exactly. And magic is not explained in this world. So is it a thing? Like, this book is written first person view from her point of view.
Yeah.
But for her, they say magic in this world. It's like a tingly feeling for her, like she just feels it. And there's like power words. You have to learn these power words.
Okay.
Like there's these words that if you say, it's words of power, and everyone will listen to it. Like if she says, "You belong to me," like or something, whatever.
Yeah.
You're mine. That person now listens to everything you say and do everything that you say. I'm like,
okay.
wow, that's a very powerful word.
Yeah.
How did you get that?
Yeah.
Like at the start of this book, she learns 2 words or 3 words. Someone gives it to her. Someone close to her dies and leaves these words to her.
Yeah.
Like she read this paper and it had these words on it, and she's explaining like, "Oh, I'm feeling like brimstones and like I'm a lot of pain, and the only thing I could do is repeat the words on the paper." And she repeats them and then she learns them.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, wow, for something that's so powerful, that seems like an awfully easy way to learn it. You just learnt it. Like she said, oh no, people could die from, like, if they don't manage to harness the power, they will die. I'm like, okay, but you didn't. I don't see it. I don't feel it. And because it's from first person, you should feel everything she's feeling.
Yeah.
But she's like a robot. She tells you, the room is this size, this shape, and there's these things here. Oh, and then there's this person sitting here, and then this person is doing this. And then this person is doing this. And then I do this. And then this person does that. This person pours a drink. This person drinks something. I'm like, wait, so do you feel anything while all this is happening? Because what I'm seeing is that you're just observing, and then you're just telling us everything that's happening. And then like, oh, and sometimes she will say, you know, I'm scared shitless. And then she'll say things. And the things she says and the things she's thinking is completely different. Because she's constantly snarky.
Yeah.
Like, oh, she's going to meet the beast lord, like the lord of all werewolves. So she's like, oh, I've never met someone this powerful before. And then she meets him and she's like, oh, here, kitty, kitty, kitty. And we're like, wait, you just said you were scared shitless. And then she'll be like, oh, I was scared, but there's no way I'll let him see that. And you're like, okay, so you just... She always waves away the fact that she's scared by saying, oh, I can't let them see that I'm scared, so I'm going to say these things that's antagonizing, that is aggressive, that's downright rude, just to show them that I'm not scared. And I'm like, but then are you really scared? Because you're not, you know, are you trembling in your boots? Are you gripping your sword really tight? Because you're nothing. No, she's gonna, and it's not just reserved for people that she's meeting, like these powerful people. She does it to a date that she has. Like she's snarky and rude, and I'm like, well, you're not a pleasant person.
Yeah, she's probably not from the sound of it, she's not a pleasant person.
Except when you read the reviews, all these people are like, oh, you know, she doesn't bow down to authority, you know, she's, you know, witty, and I'm like, you're not witty. That was not wit, right?
And it's there's 2 differences being, you know, not bowing down to authority and being rude.
Yeah, right? You're asking this person for help.
Yeah.
And you go, and instead of asking for help, you're like, oh, you better help me because, you know, I'm like the next best thing, you know, since sliced bread, and I'm here to solve all your problems. And you're like, oh, no.
So not a good book.
No, actually, the last, I don't know, 30 minutes, an hour to that book, I actually didn't hear anything. It was just...
Ignored it.
Well, I just wanted to know how it ended,
Yeah.
so to speak.
Yeah.
And because her description of fights are so boring, you don't feel like anything bad's ever gonna happen to her. Oh yeah, she gets sliced up, but yeah, she's gonna get healed. Yeah, there's no stakes here. You know, I just wanted to know how it ended. And it was supposed to be a detective story, but she doesn't do any detective work. It's just like people tell her information without her kind of having to really have to ask. I don't know. It bored me. And people were like, no. The first book might not be very good, but the series is fantastic. You just have to keep going. Like by the 3rd book or 4th book, I'm like, what?
Well, you don't have to take that long to get into a series. I'm
Like,
probably not going to do that.
I'm not going to pay like that much. Like, okay.
I feel like... I don't know, when people say, like, oh, you know, the first book might not be that great, but, you know, the series is really good. I kind of feel like look, a book's not a short medium.
No.
I would generally say a book is probably one of the longer mediums we have, right? If after one whole book you can't really grab me, look, I generally don't even give a book time. I give them one chapter, right?
Oh God, yeah.
Like, if you don't grab me in that first chapter, then it's very unlikely I'll keep on reading. On the rare occasion, if someone really recommends it, then maybe. But you know, if you can't even grab me after a whole freaking book, you've got an issue there. Okay, so how about I tell you what I've been up to?
Yes, what have you been up to? What have you been up to? It's a shorter period, a shorter thing.
Since, you know, you seem to hate your part so much.
No. I like the books I've been reading. I still have read 2 sci-fi books during that time.
Yeah. Anyway, so Actually, I went to the snow. So.
Oh yes, you went skiing.
I went snowboarding.
Sorry, snowboarding.
Excuse me. That's. Amateur.
Wait, hey, I ski. What do you have against skiing?
Anyway.
You snob.
No, so I went to the snow for a week, and great snow, by the way. We're one of the best snow years we've had.
Oh God!
Like literally, this is the first.
It has been quite cold. Yeah,
it's literally the first time I've been to an Aussie slope, and I've had snow where it was as good as the ones I've had in Japan.
Right, so it's powdery.
That great.
Okay.
Well, one day at least. out of the 7 days we were there, one day was absolutely amazing. And then one day we got rained out, one day we got on wind hold, so it wasn't all great.
You got a what?
Wind hold.
Oh.
So the whole mountain was it wasn't open, which was annoying. But in general, the snow was brilliant this year. In saying that, what I was wanting to say, while I was up at the snow, a friend introduced me to play this game called it's part of a series of games. The series is called.
Are we talking about video games or board games here?
Video games.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I played on the DS. The series is called Nonari Games.
Oh, is that why your DS is on your table? Because I haven't seen that around in a while.
Okay. So the series is called Nonari Games. Okay. So there's three games in this. So the one I played was the second game.
Okay.
Which is called Last Virtue's Reward. Yeah, Last Virtue's Reward. It's a... How do you explain it? It's basically a novel game. You know, games where you just have lots of text and you just...
you're reading a story.
Reading a story, right? The interesting thing is the game is split into 2 parts. So you've got the novel part of the game, and then you've got the escape room part.
Oh.
So basically, every so often, you are put into an escape room. I call it escape room, basically. So you basically have to find clues, and you basically have to find keys and whatnot, trying to solve mysteries of the room until you manage to find the codes to let you out of the room.
Okay.
So that's the mechanic of the game. So you're switching between going into these rooms and finding these clues and then going out and then doing one. So that's the whole game, basically, right? Really, really fun game. So people who actually like doing escape rooms, which I love, by the way, I actually just did one recently. It's so much fun. It's a great game because it basically is like doing an escape room, but just doing it
English?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Really, really great story. The story is amazing. So, it's kind of horror, not horror-ish. Imagine... so basically, these guys are... These 9 people? 9 people or 10 people? I can't remember now. It's been a while. These 9 people basically wake up. They've been kidnapped. They've been put into this warehouse. And the only way to open the main door is to get 9 points on their bracelets. Everyone starts off with 3 points. And then you're put into groups, either as a pair or you're individual.
Yep.
And then you have to play a game.
Yeah.
So basically, you either choose to ally with a friend, with your opponent, or you betray them.
Uh-huh.
So it's like the prisoner's dilemma. So
Yeah.
if you both ally, you both get 2 points. If you ally and the other one betrays, the betrayer gets 3 points.
Yep, okay,
and if you
yep.
both betray, nothing happens.
Yep.
Et cetera,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And you're basically trying to get these points, and you're playing these games in the whole thing. The interesting thing about this game is because you can choose to ally or betray, right? There's 2 options each time.
Yep.
Right? So you will follow a particular path
Yep.
until you reach the end of that path, right?
Yeah.
Except it doesn't always allow you to continue on the path. It will actually block you. So it will say, for example, there's one part where you after a certain amount of betraying and allying, you go to this particular point where you enter the room, and there says, "Oh, so what's the password for the 2-headed lion?" And then it flashes before the screen, and you see everything, but you don't know what the password is. Okay, the game actually forces you to stop there. You can't actually, so you have to go back and go to a different route.
Oh, so you've went the wrong way. So
No, not necessarily the wrong way. Each route or each route is basically a character's ending. So you've got a character's good ending, a character's bad ending.
Yeah.
Okay, but it forces you to play every route. Basically, the game forces you to play every route, and it explains why you need to play every route in a very interesting way. What do you mean? Oh no!
I don't like play. Okay, when I play a game, I don't like replaying a game.
But you don't replay it because you can skip all the parts where you just basically go back to the part where you split the decision.
And okay,
And then you just go on to, instead of choosing ally, you chose betray, for example.
yeah.
So the first time you choose ally and it went
but
one
how
way,
would you know which one you have to go back to?
there's a flow chart for you.
Yeah, no, I understand. But if you are like 6 level deep, you have to go back up to the first time you split out, or do you go to the previous one that you
You can
split?
choose. There's multiples. You can always choose.
Yeah, I know, but that would mean like if there's 8 levels, there's like 64 different.
There's not that many.
Oh, okay.
I think there's like 14 routes in total.
Oh, okay.
So it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Because some routes doesn't allow you to choose. It basically forces one particular way it happens,
okay.
right? Anyway, but the game, in order for you to actually, and there's a lot of these locks in all the routes, and in order for you to unlock those particular locks, you need to have played a certain other route before
Okay.
you know the answer to to this particular
Okay.
lock. And you think, well, that wouldn't make sense because you wouldn't know that information if you were actually playing the game, right? But that actually gets explained in the story. So the story actually explains why that's the case. And it's really interesting how they tie all of that together into a very coherent story.
So you mean the story explains why the game mechanics the way it is?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's on 3DS?
Yeah, it's on the 3DS. It's also on... So the game I played, the Virtual Survival, is the second game.
Yeah.
You can buy the bundle on Steam, I think, and play it on PC.
Yeah, no. I'm more likely to play it on my 3DS since
Oh, yeah, right.
it's portable.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's really... Yeah, and it's not really horror. Don't listen to the sound, though. The sound is kind of really...
Oh.
It's eerie and it's uncomfortable, so turn off the sound.
Yeah.
Just read the
read
boring,
the text. Yeah,
and put some nice music on.
Yeah.
Since we're not the horror type
No,
of people.
no, we're not.
But the game actually is surprisingly fun, and it's surprisingly. It does surprisingly well, trying to basically tie the whole story together into a very coherent narrative.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a game that I highly recommend just for people who likes a very interesting story.
Okay.
And yeah, and just like playing with puzzles and stuff like that. Okay. And the good thing about the game as well is none of the puzzles are so out of the blue that you like. Even if you look at a walkthrough, and you'd see the answer, you wouldn't go like, well, I would never have gotten that.
Oh, okay.
Which
it's
is
a logical.
It's logical. Like, you know, some of them might be slightly harder than...
Yeah.
There was one which I did find was, you know, a bit annoying because it was very unclear.
Yep.
But 99% of all the you know, puzzles are doable.
Okay.
Like, it's if you think hard enough and you think logically enough, it makes sense what they're trying to tell you to do.
Yep.
It's not, you know, it doesn't require a walkthrough generally.
Yep.
So
Okay.
it's not one of those games where, like, if you don't have a walkthrough, you know, don't bother.
Yeah. Although I found, since I've been playing Zelda, I found that it's not because of Zelda, but because I was playing Zelda, I found that I am more lenient on myself because when I used to play games, I had any puzzles in it. I feel like I have to work it out myself.
Yeah.
If I can't work it out myself, then I can't progress any further in this game. Like this is where I stop. This is where I end. You know, the way probably an 80s child would have worked with games because you know, back in the days we didn't have walkthroughs.
We didn't have game facts.
Yeah. Like, well, not that there wasn't, but it's, you know, it took a lot of deep diving, and it's like the whole idea of games is like if you can't pass it, if you can't finish it, you just can't finish it. That's just how games were.
Yeah.
But now it's like, well, no, most games now are there are stories, right? And if I let myself play a game thinking, okay, I'm here just for the story.
Yeah.
And if I can't pass this puzzle, someone else has done it before. I'm not here to prove that I could do these puzzles. I'm here to enjoy
the story.
a game. Yeah. So if I do it that way, then I feel like I'm more relaxed.
Yeah.
And I'm less stressed out when I play a game.
Yeah.
So in that sense, you know, your game is interesting to me.
I get that. Like, I agree. Like, a lot of games these days, we look up a lot of information just because someone's already done it. We don't have to. But I think with this particular game, you really don't have to.
Okay.
A lot of them does make sense, and a lot of them doesn't require you to think really outside of the box. Like, I like when games are logical and you don't have to do these big leaps of faith before things make sense. Well, there are big leaps of faith, but in a different manner.
Okay.
Not with the...
What's the game called again?
Virtue's Last Reward.
Virtue's Last Reward.
Or if you look up Nonari games, it's a part of the series.
Okay.
So I'm gonna play the third game.
Yep.
But the third game seems a lot more gory and a lot more horror than number two. Number two is not horror at all.
Okay.
The music does give you that feeling.
Okay.
So that's why I turn off the music.
Yep.
But the game itself is actually quite a nice game.
Okay.
So you wouldn't feel like, if you turn off the music, you wouldn't feel like it's a horror.
Okay.
But if you turn off the music, you're kind of like, oh, well, that's jarring. And it's that uncomfortable, like, uncomfortable violin screeching noise.
Oh, yeah.
You know, what's that?
Saw.
Not Saw. You know, Hitchcock kind of
Oh,
film, that type of thing.
Yeah.
So it's a bit like that. So it's kind of, ugh, that's uncomfortable. But yeah, so I played that game and I really enjoyed it. So yeah.
Because you talked about that being a puzzle game, and I was saying how I've been trying to be relaxed about my game.
Oh, yeah.
On the other end, I haven't played this recently. Have you heard of the games Rooms on iOS?
No.
It is a puzzle game, like a puzzle game.
Yeah.
There's a thread of story in it. You're not doing this for story. This is puzzles. You don't look online for how to solve this because there's no point.
Yeah.
If you're looking online for how to solve this puzzle, there's nothing else for you to do in this game. It's purely a puzzle thing.
Yeah.
So there's, I think, Rooms 1, 2. I think there's 3 of them as well. And it is called Rooms because the first one, you are in a room and you're trying to get out of the room.
Okay. Yeah.
So I think if you like escape rooms, you'll enjoy this game. But this one, I'm telling you, it's hard.
Right.
But not impossible.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember whether I actually looked on any walkthroughs. I think I probably only did one in like the last game or something like that. And But I did use the clue function within the games.
Yeah.
Like there are clue functions. Yeah. And if they give it to you, you might as well use it, right? And there is a sense of satisfaction in it. This is but it's not relaxing.
Okay.
Right, because you'll be like, so how does this?
How do I get this? How do I get up here?
But I like it because they do a lot of like physical things. In like there might be a box and there's like things you need to twist or turn and rotate. And on the iOS, you manage to do it, and they manage to make it still tactile in a way.
Yeah.
And you have to have the sound in this one because you can hear all the things moving, and that's kind of cool. It's a nice. That one's a nice game too.
Okay. Okay. Let's get to our
onto
topic.
Yes.
You know.
We haven't actually told people what our topic is.
All right. Yes.
Yes. So in our previous episode, or previous 2 episodes, we talked about 2 TV series that we've
watched or started watching.
Yeah. Which was Killjoy and Dark Matter. Now, I think I was the one who told Peter, oh, I recently watched Killjoy on Netflix and it's fantastic. And then Peter's like, oh yeah, I heard about that. You should watch Dark Matter as well. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I watched both of them and I enjoyed them. And then I said to Peter, I haven't finished S. And I don't think I'm going to finish it anytime soon. And please don't make me have to finish it. Can we talk about...
Can we talk about something that we like instead?
Yes. And Peter was more than ready to jump onto that bandwagon because he also hasn't finished the book. Okay, so Killjoy and Dark Matter. They're both sci-fi TV shows.
Yeah.
Are they both Canadian?
I believe. Well, I don't know if both of them can. I know Dark Matter is Canadian. I don't know.
I think Killjoy's Canadian.
Oh, then both of them are Canadian.
Oh, okay.
They're both produced by the Sci-Fi Network, actual Sci-Fi Network in the US.
Isn't Sci-Fi Network...
It's actually called the Sci-Fi Network.
Yeah, isn't that Canadian?
I don't know, maybe.
Okay, I don't know. Yeah, Canada, US, isn't it the same place? No, sorry. Sorry, I know it's not. Canada's a much nicer place.
And there just goes the rest of our, listeners from both places.
Come on! Like, the US is currently run by Donald Trump. Even the US people understand that it's not a very good place to live right now. I'm sorry, but it's true.
Anyway, so yeah, Killjoys and Dark Matter, both sci-fi shows. They're very different sci-fi shows in some respects. And we both enjoy both shows.
Yes, we do.
But for very different reasons. As in, we both like the shows for
the same different reasons. Oh, wait, that doesn't make sense.
We both...
Killjoy and Dark Matter are both enjoyable shows in different ways.
Yes.
And we both agree in how these shows differ in different ways. Yeah, it's really late right now. We were supposed to record 3 hours earlier, but 4 hours earlier ago. But
again, karaoke got in the way, and YouTube musical, show tunes just took our,
3 hours.
3 hours. So yeah, we're slightly delirious.
Yes. I was already tired coming to your house.
You're tired? I woke up at 8:15 this morning to go to the gym at 9.
Whose fault is that?
And I haven't slept since.
Yeah, well, anyone who goes to the gym and then complains about it, I don't have any sympathy for.
Whatever.
You put yourself through that.
Anyway, so yeah.
I was fighting for 4 hours the night before. Don't talk to me about
play fighting.
I got bruises. Play fighting. I like to see you come onto the field and run around like we do in armor now. I have armor now.
Back on topic. Back on topic. So let's talk about why we like.
Are we not going to do a quick summary of what the shows are?
Okay. Which one do you want to do?
Okay, I do Killjoy because that's one I was
I'll
suggesting.
do Dark Matter then.
Killjoy is essentially a story about 2 bounty hunters in this system, not a solar system, in this, what you call it? I don't know the term. A system where there's 3 planets, One is a... Oh, I don't even know how to begin that. It doesn't matter. It's just that there's these
Yeah,
three...
that's not important.
It's not important. It's just these two bounty hunters and the adventures they get up to. And that's one of the problems with this show. When you just when you summarize that,
Yeah.
it doesn't sound very interesting.
No.
But it's still a fantastic show.
Yeah, we'll explain why in a second.
Exactly. Dark Matter.
So Dark Matter is basically a show about 6 crew members of a ship who have lost all memories of who they are, who they were. They know how to function as humans, but they
wake
no
up from
memory.
from
Stasis.
From stasis, and they don't remember who they are.
Yeah, and so they actually name themselves 1 to 6.
Yeah.
In the order that they woke up.
Yeah.
And so throughout the show, you know them as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right?
Yeah.
And it
Makes it easier for us.
I know, right? It's great. It's
Although
like,
I keep on mixing up their numbers.
well, it's easier for me, not for, it's easier for you. And it's basically about the 6 crew members trying to find out who they are.
Well, they find out fairly early.
And then dealing with how they deal with the information when they realize who they are.
And dealing with who they are because other people are chasing after them
Yeah.
or whatever it is, and they have to deal with the consequences.
Yeah, and so that's the basic gist of Dark Matter.
Your TV show sounds so much better summarized than mine does. But my show kicks your ass.
Yeah, and we'll explain why now.
Well, okay. Number one reason why Killjoy kicks Dark Matter's ass is Dutch is so hot.
The one thing we both really agree on is Killjoys probably is not a very story-driven show. It tries to be at some point, but it doesn't really work.
No.
However, in saying that, Killjoys has one of the best characterizations, have one of the best characters, and they have great actors who plays those characters in the show. I think there's not one like out of sort character where I can really think of. I think everyone is actually really good for who they are supposed to be.
But that's also because they only have a crew of 3.
Yeah. Oh, but even if you look like at like
the
Alvin
bartender.
and Pri, like
Yep.
I think all of them are they're really great at that particular, like in playing their particular character.
Yep.
And I think that's the one great thing about Killjoys. Like Killjoys has just so interesting dynamics between the characters. And obviously Dutch is amazing. Like she is one of those. She's the really impressive thing for me about Dutch is she's kick-ass.
Yep.
She's a leader.
Yep.
But she doesn't lose her feminine side.
No.
And she flaunts her feminine side
Yes.
every time. Just the way she walks and, swings her hips and just
I know when she turns around and walks away. I'm
Yeah,
like,
I was just like, just follow her. I'll just watch that for like,
Yeah, I
I'm
will.
just like, wow. Like,
Yeah.
like her movements and that.
I
hip
question my sexuality when I watch her.
No, right? It's
No, sorry, I question my sexual preferences when I watch her.
but she's so amazing. Like,
Yeah.
and the problem I have with sometimes you've got these, heroines or these like
hardcore
female characters. They tend to overcome by being a bit too masculine in some way, or have to be the tough one. Dutch isn't like that. She's tough, but she also knows how to play the feminine part really well, and she does. And she's also not scared to show her emotional side, which which is one thing I'm really, really glad to see, because she does break down and she does show and bear her emotions, and it's great to see Johnny trying to console her a lot of times. I love that interaction, like when you can see her really breaking down and Johnny's trying to be the stone for her. And it's like, oh, that's such a good character, because it's not about just because I'm the leader, I have to bar all emotions from myself.
Which is why I don't like 2 sometimes.
Yeah.
2's the character in Dark Matter. She's a bit...
Which does the which is kind of the same role as the
Yeah.
as the captain, but yeah, like
She has to wall herself off, got to be like really emotionally removed from her crew.
Yeah.
She has to be the leader, not show them her weakness. And you're like, okay.
and she tries a bit too hard sometimes. I
Yeah.
feel like it's just a bit too. No, I'm the captain. I'm the leader.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And her looks
Yeah.
doesn't really back that kind of character either.
Yeah.
So,
Which is why, like, as a character-wise, you know, Dutch is just such a better
yes.
character
Yeah.
and such a better depiction of a character.
Yeah.
But that's not just to say about Dutch though. I feel like both Johnny and Davin they work really well.
Yep.
The trio, although when we explained it was the two bounty hunters, it actually becomes a trio fairly quickly.
Yeah.
The trio. And the interaction that
Yep.
they play of each other is so important to the show, and it's the factor that makes me like the show.
Yep.
And
And it's also okay, so you have Dutch and she works with Johnny and they've been working along together as bounty hunters for a while.
Yeah.
And then,
Very close.
Yeah, very close. And then Johnny's brother Davin joins the group and you see for a while how that changes the dynamics and how they have to work around, they have to reorder
Yeah.
things, right? I really enjoyed how, because at the start, you see how close Dutch and Johnny were, and you kind of wonder, is there something going on here, or something that could have gone on and never has? And with the brother showing up, with Davin showing up, bring that to surface?
Yeah.
And I was like, I wasn't looking forward to that. I didn't really
No.
want to see like a love triangle.
between
Yeah.
but it never happened.
No,
it was
doesn't.
great.
Yeah,
Like,
Johnny never had any interest
Yeah.
in Dutch, and like they even put a lantern on it. They hang a lantern on it, right? Was it Pre actually asked?
Yeah.
Okay, your brother's now on. Is now here.
Yeah.
Does that bring up any of your repressed emotion?
Yeah.
And he's like, no,
no.
it's got nothing to do with it. And you, for a moment, I'm wondering, is he not being truthful to himself? Except no, the show goes on, and you realize no, he really doesn't have any feelings for her in that way.
He actually sees her as a sister,
Yeah.
as a sibling.
Yeah.
And it shows in the way he consoles her, in the way he
Yeah.
tries to protect her. It is a sibling love.
Yeah.
And it's great.
Well, it's not just sibling, it's just like really, really good friendship.
Yeah.
And I like how in this show, it's fine for a guy and a girl to be friends.
Yeah.
With no romantic things whatsoever.
Yeah.
And it works.
It's okay.
Yeah,
and
it's worked.
And they don't have to kind of put this, no, there was this underlying
No,
that never
no,
happened.
yeah.
Good. I'm glad they never did that, because that would be annoying. if
Yeah,
that ever happened.
although I don't know how I feel about the fact that he would. No, I liked it how Johnny said, if there was ever a fight between you and Davin,
Davin.
I would always be on your side,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
In this show, I liked it because, because they have such a
Yeah.
good friendship. I don't know personally how I feel about the fact that family loyalty is not really as. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, in this story, it makes sense
Yeah.
because
They-
Johnny
they-
and Davin had
bit
been
of a-
estranged for a long time,
Yeah.
so it doesn't matter. But
Well, he basically, left Johnny to fend for himself, right? So
wasn't there a reason? I'm trying to remember.
no, because he left to join the army.
Yeah.
and basically he was then forced to kind of look after the family.
Yeah, okay.
So he abandoned them
Yeah, well,
in some ways.
yeah. Their father was a
Yeah, the father was an alcoholic or something.
Yeah, it wasn't-
abusive.
yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
but that wasn't really interesting. Like their backstory, like Davin and Johnny's backstory, wasn't really that important. It
No.
was only important to the point where how did these two characters get to where they were?
Yeah.
But it doesn't infringe on their future development,
Yeah.
which is fine. The interesting thing here is that Dutch have a past, and they're constantly referring back to it, and it affects how this show goes.
Yeah.
And you're trying to find out more about it because she's kind of secretive about it. And there's an element in her from her past who's constantly interfering with the way things work. And so that was supposed to be an overarching story, right? You're supposed to try and find out what's going on. And that was supposed to take up more and more of what the show was going to be about.
Yeah.
And the bounty hunting part was supposed to be less and less.
Yeah.
Except for a show that only has 10 episodes a season, there was too much bounty hunting.
And not enough story.
Yeah.
And so,
I mean, I enjoyed.
yeah, it was fun because it plays with the characters, right?
Yep.
And so you get to see that. But which is why Killjoys failed for me in that front, was it tried to drive the story, but it failed so miserably at it. Like, I didn't care for half of the stories when they finally... the annoying thing for me as well was you have one episode fairly early on where they kind of allude to some bigger things happening, right? Then you don't hear about it 3 episodes later.
Yeah.
I've forgotten about that by the time.
Yeah.
And as I say, it's only a 10-episode show.
Yep.
I shouldn't have forgotten this, but it's not memorable, and because they don't kind of build up to it, it's just kind of like, and then they just mention it on passing. I'm like, oh yeah, that was a thing, wasn't it? Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I don't remember now.
But at the same time, you could say that the intervening episodes were interesting enough to make you have forgotten about that little nugget of information that they threw at you that they never mention again until 3 episodes later.
Yeah. So yeah, character-wise, Killjoy was excellent. Story-wise,
Not so much.
Not so much.
And
you don't
also-
really watch it for, I guess, the story. I mean, you do, but it's not the...
The thing that makes you come back to every episode is not the overarching story about, oh, so what is Dutch's history?
Yeah.
It's just, oh, I want to know what kind of
Shenanigans
trouble
they go up to.
what they get up to. And also, I think the other failing in this show, it's not any fault of theirs, is the lack of budget.
Oh yeah, that's right.
It's the inside of a spaceship is very different from the inside of a normal building. And when you're filming the cargo hold of a ship inside an empty office building, it's kind of obvious. Like,
It's kind of obvious that you guys have no budget.
Yeah.
And,
yeah. So, and the costumes a little.
yeah.
There's a little cosplay sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like those monks. So unfortunately, from on that from that front, it's very like I just have to ignore it. Like,
Yeah. It does ask you to suspend your belief quite a bit. You know, when you're looking at stuff and have to assume that, okay, yeah, this is, what it looks like in, the wreck ship. Okay, I'm just going to have to assume the wreck ship looks like a abandoned warehouse. Yay.
Yeah, and oh look, they have a superpowered computer that is liquid form inside this bowl that's on this stand that looks like it's just at an end of a corridor on this balcony overlooking this building. But let's ignore all of that. No, this is actually
This
the
is the
computer
supercomputer.
mainframe room. Yes. Of course.
Yes.
But saying all that, I'm still going to keep watching it
Oh,
because
'cause it's a great show.
It's a great show.
Yeah, great character. I love the characters, and
Yeah.
there's no and the good news is, it's been renewed until season 5,
Yes.
so we definitely know that. Okay, so moving on to Dark Matter. In contrast to Killjoys, first is that I loved Dark Matters as well. It's a great show, but I love it for completely the opposite reason why I enjoyed Killjoys. Dark Matter is all about the story.
Yep.
It's all about the story-driven motives, and it's all about understanding. It's all about figuring out who they are, and then once they figure out who they are, trying to accept who they are, and then moving along.
Okay. When you're saying it that way, it does sound very character-driven, though, because it's like, what are these characters' backstory, and how does this character, from that point of view, it is very character-driven, because you want to find out, what their history are, and you want to find out who these people that they're meeting on the way, and why do they want to do what they want to do. Okay, so that's very character-driven, it sounds like. But character interaction in this show is very bland.
Yeah.
Because all these characters, they wake up and they're stereotypes.
Like so stereotypical to no end.
You have number one.
The goody guy.
He's a good guy, right? Like, if any time they go on a mission and you have to kill people, he'd be like, no, there must be a non-violent way of resolving this, you know? Yes. And then you have number two, who is the hardcore captain, and she is like...
She has a mysterious, you know, background about both of which she doesn't know about. But like
she's strong and she is
hard ass and she's tough and she has this hysteria that she needs to protect, you know.
Yeah, and she compartmentalizes everything. Like, she doesn't want to make things complicated. She doesn't want to get into a relationship with any of her crew members.
And then you have three, who's the trigger happy guy.
Yes, and he's like Jane from like
Actually, the one thing we did mention, it's like you can take the cast of Firefly and kind of put them in here in some respect. But this is more stereotypical than that. But yeah, so 3 is basically Jane.
Yeah.
And
every single time they have a meeting and they're discussing about what they should do, Jane would be like, no. 3 would always be the one who like, oh, we should just kill everyone, or we should steal all the money, or whatever we could do to just, you know, screw people over and
so obviously him and 1 don't get along.
Yes. Like
and it's so annoying.
Yes. Let's move on to the next character, 4.
Your favorite character.
He's the silent, stoic, honorable Japanese guy. Who's not Japanese.
He's a Hawaiian.
He's a martial artist who has all the trappings of all the Japanese things, right? You know, Zen and meditation, and you know, you should not let your emotions rule over you and make, you know, cryptic, you know, pronouncements like that.
Serena doesn't like number 4. No. And then you've got 5, who's the
girl genius.
Girl genius, yes, that happens to know everything.
Yes.
Especially, you know, or be able to pick up skills like that.
Yeah, like give her a computer and she could figure it out. You break mechanical stuff, she could figure that out. You got a locked door, oh yeah, she could open that. She's so lovable. Everyone loves her. She's innocent.
Yes.
Anyway,
so and then 6, who's probably the most boring out of all of them.
He's like blank paper.
Yeah, he really is like a blank paper.
Oh, but no, he's the protector, right?
Yeah.
He's like the bodyguard for 5.
Number 5, yeah.
You know, so you have that short, small, cute girl with the big hulking bear. Like that's he's like hulking bear, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So in funnily enough, we said there's the 6 crew members, and there's also the android.
Oh yes.
Which is technically not a crew member. Well, she's the part of the ship basically, but.
We forgot to mention Lucy in
of course, love
in
Lucy.
Killjoy.
Yeah.
You don't see her; she's just a voice, but she's
a ship and she's funny. She's awesome.
The deadpan humor.
Yeah. Android in Dark Matter is part of the ship.
Yep.
And she's probably the most interesting character.
Yep.
Interesting character, not in terms of what her background is, but how her character interplays with everyone.
Yes. Like, okay, everyone else is very stereotypical. And I think even she can be kind of stereotypical. But, like, you remember that episode where they had that second android on the ship?
Yes, the entertainment droid.
So we have this second android shows up on the ship.
Full of personality life
can,
and everything.
Can cook everything, could solve all the crew's problems. Because, like, the original android, she's a ship android.
Yep.
All she could do is like change the temperature in the ship to make sure everyone is comfortable. Would be able to tell you if there's anything wrong with a ship.
Yep.
Would be able to tell you how the weapons are firing. All of that kind of stuff.
Basically, supposedly have no personality.
No,
and she starts off with very little personality. And
yeah. But when the second android shows up and the second android's doing all this stuff, do you see the original android's expression? Lack of expression? I don't know, but you can see there's some kind of like a slight jealousy thing going on, even though there shouldn't be.
Yeah.
And then when she approaches number 1, and she's like, because the second android, she speaks with an Australian accent.
Yeah.
And everyone found that weird. So suddenly you have the original android, approach number 1, and she starts going through all the different accents that she could do.
Yeah.
Like the Irish accent, the British accent, and she sounds really weird. I was like, oh, I got 46 different, accents, and I could, if you like, we could change to a different one, or if you want, I could rotate through them all every day. And you're like, wait, what are we doing? It's so strange and so awkward. And when one just like edges away and just walks away, you see that the android zips up her top, because the entertainment droid is wearing very
skimpy clothes.
Yeah, wearing skimpy clothes, whereas the original android wear things that's like zipped up to her neck and everything's enclosed, and I didn't even notice that she had it zipped down.
Oh, you didn't? Oh,
yeah,
okay.
A guy, a girl, you see that kind of thing. So I didn't even notice until she zipped up. I'm like, oh, okay, that's funny. So anyway, you have interesting characters in the sense that because they were so stereotypical at the start,
They have a lot of room to grow.
Yes, and they did,
and they're good. Yeah, and in fairness to pretty much all of them, they all developed in some shape or form.
Yep.
And was interesting to see how they
grew
and how they kind of changed.
But the interactions between characters are still boring and bland.
Yeah, and that's why in Dark Matter we don't kind of watch it for that, like
interactions,
because the interaction sometimes can be also quite forced as well. Like it's kind of like
there's no wit. You don't laugh at the things that they say
because it's not funny as well. Like they're too serious in some respects,
and also because they're so stereotypical. You're like, oh yeah, well of course number 3 will disagree with what number 1 says.
Yeah.
Oh, of course number 4 says nothing because he never says anything.
Yeah. And of course number 5 would try to make peace with everyone.
Yeah.
And then everyone hates her.
Yeah.
And then number 6 is going to stand up in her defense. And
And then number 2 would tell them to all shut up and just do what she says.
Yeah.
And then you're like, wow.
That literally is what it's like half the time.
Every single interaction between them, it's like that. And then the android would come in and say some inane things like, "Oh,
would you like some coffee now?"
Yeah, or something like that.
Which is why she's the highlight for us.
Yeah. And so you're like, wow,
But as I said, the story of Dark Matter is a lot more engaging.
Yeah. It feels like they do a lot more world building before they started writing these episodes.
Yeah.
Like they don't throw world building in your face, right? They don't say, "Oh, this is this alien, and this is this race, and this is this world." They don't do that.
No.
But you could see that the details are there.
And because like each episode kind of brings a bit more of that world to you, and because the good thing about this show is because at the start, they're learning about everything as well. So you learn with them. So they can show you everything without it kind of feeling weird that they're explaining everything to you. And so you start meeting parts of the different forces at work,
the different corporations.
And stuff like that. And then it's interesting to see how they then accept who they are, and then going through all of that.
Well, I mean, it's not much of a spoiler here. They do find out in the end of first episode that they're all killers.
Yeah.
Right? They're not good people.
No.
They're all like wanted for something. Mass murder, terrorism, kidnapping, they all have a price. They all have a price on their head. And they all are like shocked because they all seem like nice people.
Yeah.
They none of them seems to believe that they have the capacity to do what they've been accused of.
Oh, no, free can.
Well, everyone can. So, and that was the thing, though, right? Everyone assumes 3 can and is capable of doing all the things that he's
done.
Accused of doing, except through the show you find out that no, there's actually another part of him.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's this, softer side of him. And he discovers it himself too.
Yeah,
So
and I think the interesting thing is like I hated number 3 at the start of the show. He turned out to be at the end of the second season. He's probably one of the characters I like the most.
Yep.
He's really grown on me, especially in the second season. I feel like he's really kind of lost that mold of the trigger happy guy, and you see a lot more, and because he does a lot more as well. And even with like characters which I don't really like. They still managed to surprise me. Like as I was saying with 5, when she ordered the kill order of her interrogators.
Yep.
Because you don't see that at the start.
No,
of season
she was
1. She's the one
timid.
timid and trying and be afraid all the time. But
and she's peacekeeping as well.
yeah, and then going to the point where no, I'm going to have to take
These people
down for my crew.
Yep.
And make that decision, and it was great to see
Yeah.
that. Like, it's great to see someone grew out of what they kind of were molded as.
Yep.
So yeah, I like.
I don't know how far we could spoil this one, to be honest, because I want to talk about something, but that would
Reveal
certain
something?
things.
Okay.
Yeah. Are we assuming that they've watched it, or are we assuming that they will watch it on our?
Probably we don't want to spoil it too much since we didn't tell them we were going to do Dark
Yeah,
Matter,
that's true. That's true. That's true. Okay. So
we've
again,
already spoiled a lot, actually. I think in some respects.
I don't think so. Have we? I don't think so.
Yeah.
We said that they would grow.
Yeah.
We didn't tell them how they grew.
Yeah, true. What else about Dark Matter? No, the aesthetic is a lot better than Killjoy.
Oh yeah. Because
have
okay,
a
I
lot
watched
more.
Killjoy first, and then I watched Dark Matter, and it's like, I could relax. I don't have to watch this with a filter. I don't have to constantly remind myself they're on the spaceship. They're on the spaceship. They're on. Oh, okay, no, okay. In Killjoy, their spaceship is a spaceship,
Yeah.
right? The quarters in which they had to live in.
Yeah, that was fine.
Yeah, Lucy was a spaceship.
Yeah.
It's just that whenever they go somewhere else, they board another ship and it's a warehouse. They go to a ransacked part of a planet. It's a warehouse. Well, they say they go into a warehouse on that planet, so it's always a warehouse somewhere. And it's annoying because I feel like it's such a good show, and if people would put more money into it, it'd be more comfortable to watch.
So Dark Matter doesn't have that problem. Dark Matter has very good aesthetics. They have a lot of they put a lot of effort into their backdrops, and they put a lot of effort into the sets and stuff like that. So you're constantly immersed in something that's so believable.
Yeah.
Like, that's never an issue. I think I will have to warn people though. If you want to watch Dark Matter, do note that it has been cancelled after season 3.
Yep.
Which is just recently announced actually, so I'm really annoyed.
Yep.
Because I really like it, but we still have some hope. I've just signed a petition, so try to.
You know that doesn't ever help.
I can always hope.
So many shows have been cancelled.
I know,
Most of
right?
the time, it's sci-fi shows.
I
Not the
see-
sci-fi TV station, but sci-fi as in the genre.
Yeah, I wonder. I feel like it's also because it does take a bit more money to produce a sci-fi show.
It's not any more money than a period piece would be. Right? Like things like Outlander, they spend so much money on the costumes and the sets. Like, I mean, at least with sci-fi, they could use current day sets, like in a warehouse or whatever, and they make things up that looks sci-fi and new and like futuristic. Whereas period pieces, you actually have to like find old carriages. Well, you could build old carriages, I guess. You have to find old buildings, like for streetscapes and stuff. The clothes, I don't know. It just feels like there's more. It's harder. I just think that probably sci-fi shows are more niche. I don't think as many people watch it.
That is true.
So if not every single sci-fi nerd goes and watch a show, there's a chance of failing.
Yeah.
Which is why we need to tell more people about sci-fi shows.
Yes, go and watch it. But
The legal way.
yes, both shows are on Netflix, I think.
No, Dark Matter isn't on Netflix.
Oh, Netflix is on Netflix. Oh yeah.
I want to support it, but I can't. Killjoy though. Killjoy's on
Killjoy's on
Netflix. Watch
Netflix.
it on Netflix.
Yeah. But yeah, so both sci-fi shows are brilliant, we think.
In different ways.
In different ways. But both worth watching. You may like one and not the other, depending on what type of show you like and depending on what type of things you're looking for in your show.
Killjoy's more episodic.
Yeah. But Dark Matter has more of a grander story arc per se. Dark Matter is only 13 episodes long as well. It's slightly longer than Killjoys.
Yeah.
But they're both rather short shows, so it doesn't take long to watch it.
No, it doesn't.
You can binge it in like a day.
I binged all of them. I was like, I'm actually further along in Dark Matter than Peter is. I'm already halfway through season 3.
Yeah, because I can't get season 3 yet. It's not out yet.
Yes, it is. I was halfway through season... Okay, so Peter's really disappointed that Dark Matter is finishing at the end of season 3. Whereas for me, for some unknown reason, I thought that Dark Matter was cancelled when I first started. I think someone else told me about another show that had like only a season or 2, and then there was a movie, and the movie's disappointing, or something like that. And I got them mixed up with Dark Matter, so I thought I'd be watching this and it would not end. So when I found out that there was a season 3, I'm like, oh, I'll just keep watching. I mean, like, oh, I actually got my wires mixed up. I could keep watching. This is fantastic. And now Peter tells me that I can't. I'm like, okay, well. Yeah,
I was expecting it to end anyway.
Yeah. Look, to be completely honest, I mean, sure, the overarching story is very interesting. But it's also true that the characters, as much as they've grown, I'm like...
They still don't grab you as much.
No, they don't. And 4 becomes a dick. And
yes.
I don't enjoy that. Season 3 is, and I'm letting you know this, Peter, there's a lot more about 4.
Oh.
And since I don't like 4, I don't care about it. I'm like, just, no.
I feel like because they kind of want to make 4 the villain, I guess, in some respects.
Yeah, well, that's the problem with this show, with this world anyway. The villains are the corporations, right? And only in the sense that they want to exploit mining in certain places. And there's only really just so much you could go with that. Yeah. Like, I mean, if that's the problem in this universe...
it's not something you can really...
Well, it becomes a different show.
Yeah.
Right? Then
it becomes politics and...
Yeah, well, like and this one ship against all these corporations, it's a really hard battle to fight.
Yeah.
They tried to do it in one of the episodes, and then I'm glad that they didn't actually. They just ended that storyline. Like, there was a resolution there, which I was glad to see end, because it would have changed the story. Yeah. And so they can't make the corporations bad guys. Yeah. So they had to find a bad guy for them to fight. Yeah. And who else but one of their own? Yeah. You know. Yeah.
Anyway, but in saying that, watch the 2 shows. See what you think of it. Let us know. Actually, I'm actually really interested in seeing how other people view the 2 shows, because it's funny. Because like reading like the forums and stuff like that people who like Dark Matter tend not to like Killjoys.
Oh,
yeah, and vice versa, and. Is exactly what we talked about. Like people who liked Killjoys didn't like Dark Matter because they hated the characters, and then people who like Dark Matter were like, well, there's nothing in Killjoys, like nothing ever happens.
It's too frivolous.
Yeah. And I can see why, but at the same time, I enjoy both of them. So
yeah, but we enjoy them for different reasons.
Yeah,
we embrace them for what they are.
Yeah, yeah.
Like you finish watching Dark Matter and you're like, oh, I need something a little bit light, and enjoyable without too much consequences. And Killjoy would give you that.
Okay, so I think that will wrap up our topic for this week, month. Anything else we need to talk about? It's that pretty much it.
No. We can mention what we wanted. Right. You wanted to do S.
Yes.
Remember the musical I wanted to talk about for the next topic?
Yes. I haven't listened to it yet.
I know. But I was going to tell people about it so that they could listen to it. Because we'll do it for next episode. Except you're saying we're not doing it for the next episode.
Because we said we will do S dot, and I think as part of our duty to our listeners, given that we've already put this off a month. Hey, look, I have to do this in midst of like assignments and exams and stuff like that. So,
can I, like, can I mark the book as a DNF? Did not finish.
Actually, to be fair, I think if by next time we do our recording and we haven't finished it for whatever reason, I think we'll review it up until that point.
Yeah, we'll review for as much as we can.
Because I think that's also an indication to what or to why we're not reading it, or to why not. I think that's also a legitimate reason.
Yeah.
Yeah. So either way,
whether we finish it or not, we'll still talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But still finish the musical, because we might not have that much to talk about
that is true.
About S, and we might need to talk about the musical, which I should mention anyway, so that people will know about it and listen to it and stuff. There's a podcast called 36 Questions. It's only 3 episodes. Well, 4 if you include the teaser. It doesn't sound like much in a summary. It's a couple who is going through the 36 questions because they've experienced some issues with their relationship. But I like the songs in it. I shouldn't say anything else about it. It's worth listening to, and I was recommending it to Peter because I think it's something that he'll like, which is how we got into the whole topic about show tunes and musicals, and which is why we didn't start recording until 3 hours later, because we were listening to all these
other
musicals.
songs.
By the way, Peter, if I listen and watch 5 years later, which is something he recommended to me, and I end up getting really annoyed, which I'm sure I would, I don't care what time it is, in the middle of the night, I'm calling you and berating you and all sorts of stuff. Hey, we probably should do that as a topic. The movie.
Yeah?
Last 5 years. The last 5 years, sorry.
Yeah.
Not 5 years later.
Yeah.
Last 5 years.
Yeah.
That should be a topic.
Possibly. Okay, so that's out of the way, and I think that's it.
Yes, we need to do the ending.
Yeah,
I
so
keep repeating.
yeah, if people want to contact us, they can contact us. Let me do it this time. They can contact us by you guys can contact us by Twitter at triggerpointfm, or email triggerpointfm@gmail.com. You can visit our website at www.triggerpointfm.com.
Did you use too many W's there?
Huh?
I don't know. I thought you did 4 W's there.
Well, it's 3 W's.
Yeah.
Or you can look at us via YouTube. Search under Trigger Point Podcast.
Yep.
Well, I got all of that. Ta-da!
Yes. And the show notes for this episode will be at triggerpointfm.com/12. Yeah, I have forgotten to talk about the show notes in the last few shows, so I thought that was why there's a dash there. Show notes in our show notes.
In saying that, well,
yeah, good job, Peter. You did it.
Yay!
Hey.
Woo! Thanks for everyone. See you next time.
Month. Bye.
Bye.